time, the higher you climb, the more people throw stones. I had a beautiful life. It's not like we were lacking, but I felt this call and this desire to do something more. And
I was like, oh my God, how can somebody that loves Jesus that much, right? Mm-hmm. And is such a wonderful person and has changed so many people's lives, thought about killing themselves because of people being mean on the internet. It's a crazy world.
All right, so welcome to another episode of the High Velocity Couple Podcast. I'm Paul Montalongo, my lovely wife Letitia, and we are in Maui.
Let's go.
Maui. And we are here with Tyler and Britt Deveraux. And first of all, thank you so much. Thank you for the beautiful gift.
You're very welcome.
They're very nice. Thank you so much.
Excited to have you guys in office. It's fun that you guys, I was pumped to see that you guys were in Maui.
Yeah, so, great. Yeah, I appreciate you taking this like on short notice. And you were on our wish list to begin with of people we'd like to interview. So, maybe you could just tell us what you're into professionally,
okay,
and of course
we'll
go. I love it. I love the way this is going already.
Yep. Addition.
Yeah, and then we could do that addition later. No, I'm just kidding. What you're into, and then how's it going, and then we'll just talk about how you're working it together.
Done.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your background, and then I can talk about what?
Sure. So I'm a physician assistant, and I worked in pediatric orthopedics in Austin for 7 years, and that was so. Then when we moved to Maui, I kind of was just all team Tyler, and Tyler took the reins and supporting the family for Tyler and for us. So that's a little bit of my background. Yeah.
So now you have a really hard job home with the children.
And for real,
doing all that fun stuff. Yeah.
It's a sacrifice. Like, Britt loves what she does. I mean, she worked in pediatric orthopedics, and so worked with kids and, helping them recover. Pediatric orthopedics, somebody that breaks a bone, a little kid breaks a bone, and Britt's uniquely qualified to help them. And so it was a sacrifice for her.
She did love it.
So, but I'm very grateful. Like, what I'm grateful for. So then my background, I'm in commercial real estate. As you all know, that's how we met. So I buy apartment buildings with investors and help them get passive returns and better tax benefits and all the things that I'm sure you guys preach about all the time. And so and then I also have an education company where we train people to do what we do, which is buy apartment buildings. Yeah. And that's where we actually met, is an event with y'all. And the investment side, I started to grow the investment side when Britt was still working. We were in Austin. And then we got to a point where we were like, okay, once we reach this point, we want to move to Maui. And we wanted to spend unobstructed time with the kids before they got to school. And so that's what we did. We moved to Maui, and the plan was to be here for a year. And then we were here like a month and realized we could never leave. We love it. Yeah. And so, I don't know, we'd been here about a year or so, and then decided to start the education company. And that has been a blessing. I've loved it. I mean, it's been so great, but it's also been a sacrifice, traveling and doing things that, sacrifice on my end, sure, but way more of a sacrifice on Britt's end, because Britt's home and navigating things and life a lot, and she shoulders a lot of the burden. So
yeah, I guess that's one thing I was going to ask you. So when you talked about you're going through this, you wanted to move to Maui, and then you guys moved here. So did you think you guys were going to be as successful as you are when you first started? Because it's a big deal when people set goals, right? They're like, okay, I'm going to buy 1,000 real estate doors, right? And people say that, and they're like, okay, I did it, I'm done, I'm happy, I'm going on. But did you ever think that you were going to blow up the way you did in the education space?
No.
And be as successful as you are? And then how are y'all handling that? Because it's fantastic and wonderful, and it's also tons of work and tons of stress. Mm-hmm. And so how are you guys maneuvering that part of life?
I will answer for me that I did not see that. I did not see that in the future. And I think it's because when we first started, it was such a survival mode. I felt like I was in survival mode, that it was like, I just want to get to a point of surviving, and hopefully we can thrive, And so, no, I didn't see it. I never saw myself starting an education company, never saw the education company blowing up the way that it did. No, I didn't see that. I don't know what your thoughts are.
So I would say that I knew you were successful before I married you. Because you, sky's the limit for you. There's no, I'm not going to say how successful I would predict you to be, because it could be as much as you want it to be. So say that I knew that from the beginning. And so just starting this endeavor was just like, oh, yeah, of course it's going to be successful. That's what he does. And and it can go as much as he wants to go. And that's, yeah.
But Britt is like that. Britt's always been like that for me. Like that, sometimes it's hard to see ourselves. And so it's amazing to have somebody that just sees my potential, and she talks about it all the time and builds me up all the time and convinces me to do things that I didn't think I could do. And then we do it together. It's just amazing.
That's probably one of the most important keys to a partnership, right? Especially a love partnership, right? It's the other person seeing that you can do amazing things.
Yeah.
And always being there to make sure that you feel the same way
And it goes the
about
same
yourself,
way.
right?
It goes the same way. It might not be as much in business endeavors or real estate. It's, but yeah, it goes both ways for sure.
Yeah.
The support of being like, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, definitely congratulations on that. I know that when we saw you at your first peak event that we went to, it was great. But I will tell you, I didn't go to this last year one because we had a lot going on ourselves. But 2 years ago, when we went to the one in Florida, like your speaking, Paul and I were talking about it, went from like he's really good to like that peak that you did was amazing. Just the speech that you did for like the opening presentation was like maybe hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yep.
Was so good.
Thank you.
It was really good.
I agree. I've seen
Yeah.
progress a lot too.
That was the one about Mount Everest.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I have a fascination with Mount Everest to begin with.
Yeah.
And then when you tied that together, I was like, oh, that's cool. But not just your style and your presentation and your connection with the audience. That was all.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was all good and well deserved. Any hesitations between the two of you that may have been caused by going this route or going this elevation?
I mean, yeah, I definitely think so. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think with any kind of like new endeavor and commitment that you're thinking about, the consequences of committing to one thing or another. So just kind of and like when I guess you were determining to pursue MFM and that you brought it to me and we talked about it and we talked about those like, okay, what are the concerns that it might be? And
But
so,
you did
and
have
it's been,
concerns.
yeah.
We definitely had concerns. And because, like, listen, we had reached a point where life was pretty posh, like it just was. We had a beautiful life. It's not like we were lacking, but I felt this call and this desire to do something more. And, do you remember the rules that you gave me when I first started? Mm-hmm. What were they?
That I wanted you to write a mission statement and that you had to commit to that mission statement. That's why I asked you about your mission statement is. I don't know, I just feel like that's so like, what is your intention? Are you sticking to your intention? And that if your like mission statement is like something that I can back up, like, and then you can hold you to that. That was an important thing to me. And that I don't remember the verbiage. I know I wrote it on a Post-it note.
Yeah.
And that, doing good along those lines with that mission statement. And what were the other ones?
That was it. And it was it can never
Doing
be
good, that was the biggest value clarification there out of that mission statement.
Yeah,
Doing good for
That's it. It can't be about the money. It has to be about the people.
got it.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that in the space a lot. People make it about the money and forget about the people, and that is so that was a big rule that Britt had for sure. And so check in with me on that. Well, still checks in with me on that all the time.
Well, that becomes the guiding principle. You're going to make a decision for expansion or another market or another product or whatever it is. Is it for the good?
Is it still holding to that mission
Is it
statement?
holding to the
Yeah.
mission?
Yeah.
That's why you asked about our mission before we started. I get it.
You know what's funny is
she asked, so what is your mission statement for high velocity couples? And I said, well,
And it's
very
kinda
clear.
similar. It's
very
to help
similar,
couples,
right?
right?
We want to work with couples who are building a life of legacy and love.
Yeah.
So anytime we work with a couple, it's like, okay, what are you doing for your love? And how does that relate to your legacy?
Yeah.
What are you doing for the good of your industry, market, clients, et cetera, your family?
Yep.
And are you sticking to it?
That's it. And you asked how, because it's beautiful, but then there can also be challenges, tons of challenges. I mean, Britt can attest to, dude, there's lots of stresses. There's lots of, anytime the higher you climb, the more people throw stones.
Yep.
And so I never had people throwing stones before. I wasn't, nobody, why would they throw stones at me? And now all of a sudden, I grow and people throw stones, and it's like, I'll be honest with you, like it impacts me, like it, and Britt would also see that and has seen that and continues to see that and how it impacts. And so there's pros, but there's definitely cons. And the stresses of running a business, and the stresses of it never turns off, and stresses of, it used to be just, providing for us. And now I feel like I provide for us, a company, a network, investors. I mean, it's like, it just adds,
Yeah.
all that's beautiful, but with everything comes, challenges.
How did those stones affect you?
The stones,
Yeah.
they affected me because I love people. Like, I know who I am. I know my intention. I know how hard I work. That it's never like somebody could tell me, hey man, you are greedy. It doesn't, that I know I'm not. I know that I know that I give. I know that I am like, I know how hard I work. I know why that stuff doesn't affect me. But, then they might say like, hey man, your program, you could do better in your program. And it's like, that I agree. We can always do better.
Always, yeah.
So we can always do better. The stuff that I think is the most challenging is when there's people out there throwing stones and saying things, and then you realize like some people that you love, well, and there could be people you love, people that I have great relationships with, who all of a sudden have this perspective of something, and I'm an easy target to blame sometimes, and that breaks my heart because I love people. So
That's the worst hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then what's your role in supporting him at that time frame? Well, first of all, it's got to hurt you too, right? So what are your feelings about that? And then how do you guys work through it together?
Yeah. Well, what is my role? I just remind him. Actually, I remember the first time that when you're starting to get criticism and just being like, well, it makes sense, really. It's just a numbers thing. Like, there's a certain amount of a-holes out in the world, and so you talk to people every day, and maybe 5% of the people you run into are just a bunch of a-holes. So you reach more people, you're gonna have more people reach out to you. So it's really just a numbers percentage thing. And so I don't know, I don't internalize. I mean, I'm not very active on social media. And so, I mean, I might not be directly or hearing the stones thrown at you, but when he'll share, some things with me, and it's just either take it with humor, and
that's what she's great at. Let me give you an example of this. My partner, I don't know if you know this whole situation, but my partner left about a year and a half ago. He's been super destructive, and he files a lawsuit against me. And that lawsuit was a smear campaign. That's all it was. It was a legal way to defame. And so I'd never been served in my life. I'd never been served or sued in my life. And I'm in the office in Orlando, and these papers get served. So my secretary, the lady up front, brings this person back to me, and I'm in a meeting, and they serve me papers. And I was mortified because this poor employee who has to bring it to me, and then I'm signing in front of it as I'm in this meeting. I felt, well, Brittany, I get home, and
I wrote on the front door, welcome to the Twilight Zone. And had a big Twilight Zone, and me and the kids put streamers all over the house, and you're like, you've now entered the Twilight Zone of just weird.
To help take the edge off of
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, because
Yep.
I mean, like I said, again, the truth of your purpose and who you are has not changed, and this weird stuff that people throw, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't
The internet
change.
and Facebook is a dangerous place because people can say things,
Whatever
they want to say,
Yeah.
and they don't have to confront you. They
Yep.
just get to write it. It was so funny. We go to a mega church in San Antonio, right?
Okay.
And I've gone to this church for a long time. And Paul's just recently started going with me to this church. And it's one of those things, I'll never go to a mega church. But when I started, it wasn't a mega church. It was a small church. But we got this new pastor about 8 years ago, and he's he's younger. He was like in his mid-30s when he started, but he took this church and like grew it like 5 times as big as he did, because his message was just so raw and so will take anybody, and just really turned that church into something amazing. Well, 2 years ago, he literally wanted to kill himself because he could not deal with all of the negative stuff on social media. I mean, like really bad. People would just say horrible things, because people that are really miserable and unhappy,
Yes.
they will just say bad things.
Yeah.
And he just did a service last week about it. He was like, and it was because he had 30 tattoos when he started at this church. He never had a tattoo. And he goes, I know the moms keep calling me going, why do you keep getting tattoos? We're trying to get our kids not to do tattoos. And he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, but it's how I remember that Jesus forgives me. He goes, but I struggle so much with everybody always giving me such a hard time. And I compare myself to the other pastors that have mega churches. He goes, and it's just so much pressure. And I was like, oh my God, how can somebody that loves Jesus that much, right? And is such a wonderful person and has changed so many people's lives, thought about killing themselves because of people being mean on the internet? It's a crazy world.
Because the
It is.
negatives outweigh the positives. You could tell somebody 20, 100 positive things, but it's that one negative thing that's like
It sticks.
ugh,
Yeah.
I think the more sincere and the more authentic a person it is, I think the more it hurts.
Yeah, but you're vulnerable, right? Too?
Because you're
Yeah.
vulnerable, you're putting your
Yeah.
vulnerability out there to the
Yeah.
world. On an education platform, on a relationship platform, any of these platforms where people actually are turning to you for help in some form or fashion. You're providing the help and the sincerity that goes along with the help, and then you get those rebuttals, and it hurts. And it hurts. But good for you for welcoming him to the Twilight Zone.
Yes. I remember it was weird. It was just absurdly ridiculous that this was happening. And so it was like, I feel like we're in like a different world. This is just so ridiculous.
but it's perfect, and Britt, she says she's not involved in the day-to-day, but she knows so much about the business, Like, she knows employees' names, team members' names, student names. Like, we were just at church on Sunday, and she shows me her journal entry she keeps like a daily journal. She showed me her journal entry from a year ago. I think it was last year. And it had investors' names in there, and it had team member names in there that she, had experiences with, and she was, talking about their gratitude with them in the journal. Like, she knows their names, she knows who they are.
Because I write it down. Yeah. I don't write it down. I'll write your guys' name.
Check back with you in a year now.
She'll remember, man. She has a great memory that way. It's crazy.
That's awesome. Well, that's the personal connection. That's what is the Think and Grow? No, it's win friends
How to win
and
friends and
influence.
influence, yeah.
The sound of a person's name is the sweetest sound to their ears.
That's it.
Right? You remember their name? Yeah. So, but you've come together, and it's like you made this decision to grow this business. How has it affected like your family life with the kids? 2 beautiful kids, by the way.
Thank you.
And how's it affected them? And then how's it affected your love life?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you go first, unless you
Yeah,
want to.
she's like, how's it going over there?
I would just say just time, right? Like just time with travel and just, time.
And I would agree with that for sure. And this is what I believe. This is where Brittany is. I'm very grateful for this, because I will grind. Like, I will work. I will put in the work. And Brittany is so great at giving me that leash, like, to work, but then also checking in and being like, hey, the kids could really use a one-on-one date. Hey, you've canceled Paxton's due date now for 3 weeks in a row. Like, it's probably time. Hey, Marley could really use a one-on-one. And she's not saying it in a like you're dropping the ball, even though that is what I'm doing at that point. She's saying it with love and understanding and support, and so when she says it, it's like, yes, like for sure. I need somebody to keep me on check with that, but I know that I don't get offended by it, or I don't get irritated by it, because I know that it's from love, you know?
Yeah.
I would say that is one thing I appreciate in our relationship is that we come from a place of love. That if there's any, that we respect each other's opinion, and that we respect that if we're bringing something to the table because it's important. There's not nitpicking or tally marks of who does what. It's just this common goal
Exactly.
of to fortify our family and to fortify those around us, and so we have that common goal, and so everything is just a build up. It's not one or the other.
And it's no different than running a business, right? Like running a business, you have to have a clear mission, a clear direction, a clear vision, and then you take steps in line with that vision, and you're rallying the troops to, accomplish the mission. And I feel like it's the same with our family. Like we have a vision for our family, we have a mission for our family. We're continually, checking in with each other on, are we on track? Like, are we on the path? And last year we spent a week or something in Fiji with Tony Robbins. We did wealth health mastering. It was awesome to go and do that together and just really check in.
The two of you, the kids
Yeah.
go? Just
Nope.
the two of you?
Just the two of us, yeah.
Gotcha.
And just check in on, man, where are we at with our wealth and our health? And we changed a lot of things up, and it was beautiful. Just come in get synced up on our goals. Once again, I believe that's something you need to do regularly, for sure.
Which I applaud your business mission statement, as because when your couple is strong, that is your foundation, and if it breaks, then everything else can fall through the pieces, and it makes business and any endeavor so much harder. And I'm so grateful that that's important to both of us. So awesome that that's you fortify one another in your partnership. You can go so much further.
And I've
do so
learned
much more. That's
that
awesome.
so much from Britt, because I remember we first got married. We moved to Washington, D.C. She was going to grad school. And so I'm supporting, right? I'm working and I'm supporting her in grad school. And then I get laid off from the company that I was working with. And I was very nervous to tell her. And, I tell her, and it was there was no fear. It was just oh yeah, you'll figure it out. That's who you are. You're good. I don't. There's just no fear, which was beautiful to me. Then when we have Paxton, we had just had Paxton, or we're about to have Paxton. I lost my biggest client that I had, was a big client. And I remember Britt's at work, and I have to tell her this. And she comes home and she just goes, idiots. Well, they're idiots. You're a badass. You'll figure it out. That's who you are. You're Tyler Deveraux. And in that moment, I believe lots of people would be we better figure it out. We have a kid.
Yeah.
But she didn't do that. In the moment that, in those moments, and this is where I feel where you said where it makes it easier, it does. In those moments, when you feel defeated, the last thing you need is somebody to kick you when you're down and be figure it out. I know. I need to figure it out. I don't need that in that moment. What I need is for somebody to be you got this. Right? And that's what Britt is nonstop.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Sounds like a great partner, for
An
sure.
amazing partner.
Very grateful. Very grateful
Yeah.
for our relationship, for sure.
So what's next for you as a couple?
What's next?
As a couple, it's a great question. I definitely know that we want to do some humanitarian work. Brittany is very big on that. A dream of Brittany's is to open up a children's museum out here in Maui. So there's no children's museum out here in Maui.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so Britt, that's her dream. She wants to do that. So honestly, I would love to see that happen. But I think just continue to grow as a couple and grow those kids in there, There is, you were parents, there's nothing more fulfilling than seeing your kids thrive. And so, putting ourselves in a position so that we can put them in the best position to thrive, I think is critical.
Yeah,
So.
it is so important.
It's an interesting observation. You see your kid, we have older children, and of course we have grandchildren, right? But you see these adults come up, And then you see parts of yourself in those adults, and you can go, "Ooh, that's where I screwed up. Oh, I did okay there." It's back and forth. It's like, so they're going to be their own people, right? But giving it the effort now, just there's no regret there, So that's awesome.
It's really the beauty of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're friends with your adult children, and
That is.
Yeah.
That's
That
the
is,
best thing.
yeah.
You can
And
just
that
go
is
hang
so-
with them.
it's so sweet. And
That's why it's worth the one-on-one
amazing.
dates and
Yeah.
those little things too. Have you read The Alchemist?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's just a preface like part where he talks about the guy who, what is he, seeking happiness? I can't remember. And he goes to the castle, or the wisest man in the world, and he tells him, about the spoon and the oil. You know what I'm talking about? And I remember when we were so in Austin, when we were both working full time, and it was just like we were shifts passing in the night, and kids were babies, and just being like, oh man, I feel like we are just running through that castle, of life, and every drop is spilled. So we're just missing it. And so I think moving here and I think about this a lot, like with MFM, and that together we can accomplish that, see all the wonderful things in the world, and grow as big as we want to grow, and do all the most, do all the things, but still have those small moments with your kids, because you only get to do this once, and hopefully we don't screw it up too bad, and they'll be friends with us later, and that's, I feel like, keeping the oil on our spoon.
Right.
And so being able to work together for that, we have to work together to be able to accomplish, I feel like, that kind of analogy.
That's your biggest mission.
Yeah.
Forget everything else.
Totally.
Right. And all the other stuff's cool, but that's your biggest mission. Right.
Completely.
Those two parts of your legacy.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, that, and I feel like accomplishing yourself too, right? Like I never want to forget who we are, and I love the times when we can just hang out as best friends too. And so they are a critical mission, right? It's going to affect us the rest of our stuff, but growing us too.
Have you seen your going through this business thing, and the Twilight Zone stories? All right. Have you seen your love? In what way have you seen your love grow, change, adjust for each other?
Massively. I'll give you one example. Recently, there was a rough day. It'd been a rough year. I mean, just rough. But that day was rough. And I remember just laying in bed, and I was just telling Britt about the shit, and just feeling so guilty, because there's just so much stuff that is happening that is such a burden, and I know it's impacting me. I know it's impacting my energy. I know it's impacting my energy that I bring to the home, and just, the stress that I'm sure that, that creates for her. And so I'm I'm pretty beat up, and I'm laying in bed, and we're both laying in bed, and it's, lights out, and I'm just and I just said, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for putting us in this position. I'm so sorry for, the burden that might be, the stress that might cause. And she goes, so in this moment, once again, in that moment, she goes, no, thank you for putting me in this position. Thank you for putting yourself in a position to, acquire real estate so that we could move here to Maui. Thank you for allowing, putting ourselves in a financial position that we could take all these amazing vacations. Thank you for putting us in a position that we can make an impact in our community. Thank you for putting us in a position to have this beautiful home. She just immediately flipped it. And it is in those moments, where if we didn't have that challenge, that opens up this opportunity for such a deeper connection and love that is I don't know how you could create that without a challenge like that. Does that make sense?
It does.
So it's magnified for sure. I hope it's the same for you.
Yeah, it's just more opportunities.
To just grow together, One of the things that I think that has been really important for us for what we do is with the kids, we do board meetings with the kids. We literally call them board meetings. and we'll spend 4 hours of unobstructed time with the kids, and no electronics. They get to choose whatever the activity is, and it's just unobstructed. It's one-on-one. So she'll go with Marley, I'll go with Pax, and then we'll switch, and that connection is amazing. We have date nights regularly, that date night could be, we go to, like this week we went and did
A quantum Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
Oh,
fun.
like
Oh,
in the
very
Art Tai
fun.
Chi conference or at a studio?
It was in a studio, yeah.
Okay.
It was awesome. I had never done that before, and I loved it, though. It was awesome. And then we also have family meetings. So every week, we call it a mana ohana, and we meet with the kids, and we'll usually do a lesson. A lot of times we have the kids give the lesson. But, if it's something, coming up, then one of us will give the lesson. We'll have the kids give a lesson, and then we just talk about schedule. We talk about what are challenges they're having and how can we help, and we come together as a family to do that. And we do that every week. So those things have been massive for us, I feel like. And anytime I feel like life is like spiraling, it's usually those things that we have stopped doing, 60 days ago or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
The discipline.
yep.
Yeah. 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 Like missing like missing team meetings at the office.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, nobody knows what they're doing.
That's it. You miss a couple.
It's like, what's going on
That
around
can
here?
happen so easily. You can let that happen.
You let it slip once and then the twice, and yeah.
Probably even more so at home.
Yeah.
As we put together the closing here, what advice would you give other couples who are working together, building a family legacy for wealth and impact? What advice would you give other couples that might be going through challenges or that just need to hear something?
What do you think? You go ahead.
You want me to go first? I would say communicate together. Like, communicate. Like, really come together through those challenges. Because a lot of times, anytime that there's a struggle or a challenge or a trial or a problem, or sometimes we go recluse mode. Sometimes we turn away instead of, we come inward instead of coming together. And so I think in those moments, come together and talk about it and be raw about what's going on. Like, I believe that business partnerships and, marriages and relationships, I believe one of the biggest is communication is the biggest problem. Like, people don't want to let people down. People don't want to do the wrong thing. People don't want to make you feel crappy. But sometimes they're doing something that is making you feel a certain way, and you don't even realize, or they don't even realize that they're doing it. And because you don't have enough love and trust in them to be like, hey, this is making me feel a certain way, they can't even improve it. And so you're damning them from the beginning without having that communication. So communication is key. But you have to build it in, like routines. Like, you have to build in the routine communication. Like, there was a time, we haven't done this for the last little bit, we should get back to doing this, but we had real, true meetings. Like, there was a meeting on my calendar, I think it was every Tuesday at lunch, where Britt would come in the office, and it was a true meeting. Like, she would come in the office, and we were checking off, and like, it was a meeting. Like,
It was on the schedule.
it was on the calendar, and it wasn't a date. It was like, if our family is a business, we need business meetings, and this is our business meeting to make sure that we're on track and that we have the things that we need. And that was awesome. We kind of got out of the habit of doing that. We should put that back on the calendar. But yeah, communicate. And then I'll also say grace, grace, because I know, man, that there's so many times that, I do things that cause stress, or that you would rather me do something different, or you would rather me approach it with the kids differently, or you see me doing something with business that you have a different opinion on. And Brittany doesn't tell me what I want to hear. Brittany tells me what I need to hear. And that could be the good things, like hey, you got this, but it can also be the tough conversations that I need to hear, like, go spend time with your kids, or hey, man, you need to approach this different, or hey, you're being too passive here. Like, but she gives me lots of grace, like, and that grace comes because she loves me. And so it's like, she just wants me to be my best version of ourselves and us to be the best version of ourselves. And she's willing to get uncomfortable to make that happen. So that's the advice I'd give.
Nice.
So it's really Team Brittany. Tyler.
100%.
See,
how it's going.
this is actually why this works so well, is because he just feeds me compliments. So, I mean, how can
There's the
how can
key.
it go wrong that way?
There we go.
Exactly, right.
Great example. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right.
From your perspective, Brett, what advice would you offer couples that are really getting after it and living a high velocity life?
I mean, I think Tyler really hit on all the things that stick out to me that help us. Is communication. That's what's always the thing, and along the lines with communication. I mean, compliments. Absolutely, we compliment each other. We look for compliments.
Is that your love language?
I think it's mine for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That so we're always looking for the good, like looking at and then saying the compliments. And I think when you're looking for so communicating compliments and also like not looking for criticism.
Yeah.
So say like that doesn't mean I don't mention like we still give each other feedback and how when we help each other because we know that you want to be that person. So I'm gonna support you to be that person, and sometimes that needs feedback. It's coaches,
Yeah.
So and routines. I think just making each other the priority, and routines that just make it easy. I remember there was a time when, like, I think it was like taking the kids to school or something like that. And I was like, I need like you put a date because I don't want to have to ask you this. Like then I feel like that could be causing stress on your morning or your day. So like I just want a routine so you can take the kids. So then I know like you're participating in this and that. It's not a big deal. It's just like routine. So I think those date nights and those business meetings make sure we have time to talk about those maybe hard topics in hard business meeting. And then we have time to reconnect in the date nights. And so, but those routines that are already set up, we don't have to wait for a stressful moment,
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that's huge because, like, even taking the kids to school stuff, because on my side, I would be like, oh my gosh, if I had a little bit of heads up, I could have, but I got this early morning meeting and this thing, right? There's always something. And then scheduling family time first and what's important first is huge. I remember I was at a conference and it was on our anniversary and it's something I really wanted to go to. And I asked her, I'm like, hey, this is over our anniversary. Is that okay? And she, of course, says yes because she's extremely supportive. But then at that, it was actually Inky Johnson was speaking there. I can't remember if you guys know Inky, but Inky speaking, and he's talking about the same situation, a very similar situation. And he's like, I would tell my family that they're the most important, but then they're the first ones that I would schedule over. And I would miss important events, and he missed his wife's birthday doing something. And I was like, oh, shit.
That's the last thing you
Right,
needed to hear.
yes.
First thing you needed to hear there.
That was
right?
probably the best thing I needed to hear. And so I asked him a question. I was like, okay, so what did you do? And he's like, I schedule my family time first, like those things first. And that's been very good thing for us, like scheduling those things first, putting the date nights on the calendar, putting the board meetings on the calendar, putting the trips on the calendar, putting those things on the calendar. And then, even the day-to-day stuff of like, okay, hey, on Wednesdays, I'm going to take the kids to school or whatever. And then it's there. We don't have to worry about it. It's not a stressor. And maybe that's working. Maybe that schedule's working. Maybe it's not. You check in all the time on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important. That's what I started doing. Paul is not as great as I am about it. I don't take any meetings until 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Ever. Because, I get up in the morning and I have to do all the stuff. Got to meditate. Got to do all the stuff. Take care of yourself. And then at 10 o'clock, I can start my work day. But before that, there's just other things I have to take care of.
Yeah, which if you kind of let those things slide.
Yeah. Because it'd be really easy to get on a call at 8, but then
Yeah.
I would never get around to the gym ever.
Yeah.
Just keep putting it off and putting it off.
Yeah.
So
I know we're going to wrap, but I want to say one thing because we joked kind of about that feeding the compliments,
yeah.
But I will tell you, I don't think I've ever said this. I've said this to Brittany. Brittany knows this, but I don't think I've ever said this anywhere else, which is, if anybody's ever been to one of my 3-day trainings that I've taught, like that I've done, they'll hear me talk about Brittany all the time. It's very strategic though, because I saw people in this industry who would be traveling and speaking, and you get a lot of recognition as you're on stage, and they would cheat on their wives. And I didn't want that door to be open to anybody at any time. And so I started to speak about Brittany from stage all the time and about how amazing I just told the truth. I'm just telling the things that she does, but I made it a point to make her a point, right? In my presentations all the time, multiple times, so that anybody that was ever in the crowd thinking, hey, maybe I'll try, would be shut down. They would never even think about it.
Well, they're thinking about it.
You're still thinking
They're
about
thinking about it. They wouldn't act on it.
Just head them off at the pass.
Yes.
Well, and the other thing, when you're on stage like that and you're in the public, people are not looking at just the training. They're looking at you, your lifestyle, your mannerisms, how you behave in the room, whether you're authentic. They're not going to buy the next thing if they don't think you're authentic. You know this.
Yep, 100%.
So if part of your authenticity is the love that you have for your wife and your family, that's the thing to put out there, in my opinion.
People will feel that. I definitely
feel
agree
it.
with that.
They feel it in the ring. We've been to your trainings and we were like, okay, I get it. I see it. Yeah, we'll do the next thing.
Yeah.
Because we felt it too.
Yeah.
Right. And that to us, that's very important, authenticity with people. And if we feel it, then we act on it. Right.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Thank you. And it makes you feel it more, though. The more you talk about it, the more you recognize it, the more you
Right.
recognize how grateful you are. Like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have a really nice skill set of reframing things.
I get practice.
That's awesome.
We get better at anything we practice, right?
I will always remember the Twilight Zone.
That's it.
I will always remember that. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for having us
Thank
here in
you.
your office and in your lovely island of Maui. We got married here. We're back here celebrating our anniversary.
Hey,
awesome.
and
how many
so
years again did you say?
It'd be 6 years.
6, okay.
Next week. Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
we're
Yeah,
very
it's been a
happy.
great 6 years, and
Been wonderful.
I've been blessed to have Letitia come into my life and do a lot of those things and like keeping me on point,
Yeah.
keeping me aware of what's important to us, and we feel like the best thing that we can do for each other is just to protect our love.
Yeah.
Just do what we have to do to protect our love. All the other stuff will happen as it needs to happen, but just protect who we are with each other in love.
Yeah, I love
Sounds
that.
like that's your mission too. So
Yes.
way to go.
Hey,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome for supporting and encouraging
Yeah.
others, because that just makes us a better,
Yeah.
better world.
Yeah.
Strengthening
Thank
that
you.
love. Yeah, that's awesome.
Isn't that the big picture? The better world?
yeah.
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 With the Children's Museum.
Hey, there we go. That's it.
it.
Next time you guys come out here, we'll take you to the Children's
I would
Museum.
love it. Absolutely love it. Thanks again.
Thank you. I
very
appreciate
much.
it.